Okay, and we're live.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the Land Down Under Hangout. This month we are talking about Strange the Dreamer, which is my book pick by, I think it's Lainey Taylor. Is that how you say her first name? Lainey?
Much like Taylor.
He said it at the end of the audio book, and I still don't remember.
I chose this book because I really enjoyed the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by the same author, and also because the cover was pretty. Who would like to start? Mel, would you like to start? You're at the left-hand side of my screen.
That was me because I didn't finish it.
Oh, no.
No. Look, honestly, I got halfway through and I was just done. I loved the first 70 pages. I was so down for the story for the first 70 pages. And then the perspective shifted and everything went poo. And I got halfway and I tried so freaking hard. Karina, I promise I really tried. But it just wasn't working for me. And then my parents arrived and everything was just, there was just no hope after that. So sorry.
Kim.
I really loved it. I have to say, Laszlo's parts were the best parts by far. Definitely a literary crush. Maybe not by the end of it. That's a bit weird. But I just really enjoyed it, and I thought she did, except for the kissing bit that went on for a really long time. There's like an entire chapter. Yeah, I think she did great with the world building, and I love the characters. Well, I guess it's what first part, so there's some I'd like to learn more about that we haven't yet, and hopefully hope she builds them up a little bit more in the next books, because I really like some of the characters, but I didn't feel like we heard enough about them. All right, yeah, I'll get into the rest later.
Naomi.
Sorry, my cat and my dog were just trying to, kill each other, love each other. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I didn't find that any of the kissing scenes went on particularly long, but I don't know if that's because we listened to the audiobook and didn't read it. Like, it didn't seem like anything went on particularly long, but I wasn't the biggest fan of Daughter and Smoke and Bone. Like, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it, and I enjoyed this book a lot more. So it felt a little less wish fulfillment and more of a story. I like this one a lot more, and I really can't wait for the next book to come out so I can nom it.
Karina.
I don't like when you go before me.
You sit on the other side.
That's what I was going to say.
On the other side, because I was just going.
Yeah. I did not like Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I think I gave it like a 2. I really, really, really disliked it, and was very, very hesitant about this. And the first, I don't know, I want to say 100 pages, but I listened to audiobooks, so I can't accurately say, but it was probably about the first 100 pages. I was like, this is all right, but I wish it would hurry up. And by the end of it, I was like yelling at the narrator. And oh my God, the ending. And I'm really annoyed that the next one doesn't come out until October. So I really, really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really excellent. And yeah, everything that Naomi said.
Sure. Sarah.
I really enjoyed Daughter of Smoke and Bone, but not enough to read the second one for some reason. I have it, or I bought it. I don't know what it is that I didn't delve back into. Interestingly, I liked this one a little less. I thought that it was quite slow in the beginning, and it was a bit, and luckily because it was an audiobook, and but I was a bit like, come on, are we leaving, or are we like I don't know. I felt the same way when I read The Hobbit. I'm like, get on the road already, So there was a bit of that, and I have only just finished it, so I haven't had time to sort of sit on it, and I'm quite frustrated by the ending. It felt annoyingly like a cop-out. Like, I felt like I was in a television show, like, tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. I was a bit pissed off about that. The kissing scene from the one towards the end, because I wanted to know what the fuck was going to happen, and I was like, there's things to talk about, guys. So I was thinking, I was the same as Kim. It went on and on for a bit, and I was like, okay, there's collarbones. Maybe I'm just an old married woman, right? So and I wanted to explore some of the relationships a little bit further as well. I thought I don't know. I thought there could be a bit more in that. Maybe that's what others were talking about. But yeah, look, for me it was a 3-star. That's where I'm sitting with it. Kirsten.
If I had have rated it at about, a third of the way through, I probably would have said 3 stars as well. It was one of those times that I started reading it really early, and it was like, oh, maybe I'm reading it too early. Just, I've forgotten it by the time we do a hangout. And then it sat on my bedside table for so long because it wasn't grabbing me at the beginning, and it was taking me ages to read it because I'd read such a little bit before I went to sleep, and it wasn't enough to keep me awake, kind of thing. And I was thinking, oh, maybe it's a dud. And then towards the end, it got like to the point where I was staying up late to finish it. So it's kind of in between for me, because it was slow to start, but by the end I was like really hooked. I don't know. It was a while since Daughter of Smoke and Bone, so I don't know how I could compare it. I think maybe I have a fonder memory of that, but that may just be the way I'm looking back on it. But
Them killing things.
but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I probably will read the next one, and not sure how I feel about the ending yet. I really liked one aspect of the ending and really disliked another aspect of it. So,
which aspects?
I liked the whole thing that happened with Laszlo, and the stuff that happened with oh God, I can't even think of her name because I've had one of those days. What was the other girl?
Minya, or
no, she
Sarai.
was the mean one. So
yeah, Sarai.
Like, yeah, all the stuff that happened with those two, I was just like, mostly because I don't like it when bad. Like, I saw it coming for a little bit. I was like, oh no! And as soon as she died, I was like, oh God, this is what's going to happen. And it took her longer to click to what the problem with her dying was than, because she was like, I was like, oh, now that your horrible sisters are going to have control over you, and I'm like, it's a really interesting plot point, but it's also like, oh, I hate it when bad things happen. So,
and I hate it when you see them coming from a mile off too, because I was the same. I was like, I know where this is going, and
like, oh no. Yeah, so it was kind of like, it went from an, oh wow, this is really cool, to an, oh no, And
the moment, the moment that sort of it had the bit where it sounded a girl went into the air, and like, it's not going to be Sarai. It's not allowed to be her, because if it's her, then you're the most just like, like, that's the thing I can see coming, and it's not going to be her.
Yeah, I was so sure it was going to be the little one.
The
I didn't think it was going to be the little one because
Sparrow.
That's who I thought it was going to be. Yeah,
I thought it was going to be Sparrow too. Well, I was hoping it would be Sparrow, but as soon as
I was like, no, can't be Sarai. No, because I want a book where it's Laszlo and Sarai and they're fixing things, and now it's not. It's going to be all about Minya and her being Minya. And I'm like, I'm just done with you. You're a petty little child who never grew up, who didn't, because she didn't have to, because the adult people in your life were controlled by you. Like,
I
Yeah.
did think it was one of the most interesting things about this book was the author did a really good job of showing you both perspectives and going, ooh, it's not really this is the good guys and these are bad guys. You know, Minya was pretty bad. But even her, you could kind of go, I don't know, if you were 6 years old and saw, you know, a whole bunch of babies slaughtered, and you might grow up a little bit messed up, and you could kind of see her point of view almost, even though she was really pissing me off. I was also kind of going like, well, that's what happens when you mess with a child's head when they're that little.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd sort of see it from both of their perspectives, and then you've got these people, and it's like, no wonder they slaughtered you all after what you did to them. And then it's like, yes, but they were babies that you slaughtered, and it's like, oh, I can so see both their sides of the story.
I like that too, because it's like in war there are no winners and there's no losers, right?
Yeah,
like it's just messy, bloodshed, and it's just awful. And I thought that was what was done. So, and you know, and usually it's over someone who wants power, and that's what it was. And then, you know, there's always fallout on both sides. And I thought that was I appreciated that kind of analogy. I had theories. Some were accurate, some are yet to be answered, and some I got wrong. Did anyone else have theories?
I can't remember.
I did, but I kind of forgot them once it got past the point whether it was right or wrong.
Yeah.
I did, but I didn't get far enough to find out if it was true.
Yeah. I had a theory that actually the Godslayer didn't kill the children, that it was the gods themselves. Because Minya never saw, like when she was reflecting in her piece, she didn't, you know, she was going back for more, and then she heard all the screams and then she ran. So she never saw the killing taking place.
I thought she saw the adults being killed because they were killed first.
Maybe.
And that's why she was that's why she was trying to hide the babies, because she saw the adults being killed.
So yeah, all the gods were already dead. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I probably missed it a little bit. The other theory I had was that, and then it didn't make any sense because of the timeline, but I thought that Laszlo was Azarate, who was the other Tizer Kane, who was married originally to Errol Fane? Is it?
Yeah, I think it was something like Azarate.
You know, she came down, and you know how she came down and she was pregnant when she came down from the Citadel, and she gave birth and she didn't want to see the baby and it was taken away. My theory was that was Laszlo, but then that doesn't make any sense because that would have made him younger than Sarai.
Yeah, because he was 17 or 18 and Sarai was 16. Is that right? Or around
I think he was actually more like 20 and she was like 17.
Yeah.
So it didn't make any sense. Because I was thinking at the time, it's like, well, they don't know what happened to that baby, and the baby was taken, like, it's never went, you know.
Which means either his mother was sent back to Weep before they realized she was pregnant.
Yeah, so that's going to be the interesting thing, is how did he end up? Because
I don't know that that's going to be a thing that they talk about. Like, I don't know, like, it's going to all be about Weep, and I don't really care about Weep as much as I care about knowing how Laszlo became Laszlo.
Yeah. I think that's something they'll have to touch on, because they never got into explaining. Nobody knew what happened to the babies. Like, there must have been so many.
And I thought I was going nuts, right? I was like, did he slaughter more than what, 6 gods? Were there other gods? Like, that was the thing. I was sitting there going, there must have been others, and they were talking about the gifts. And then that was the bit with Minya. I was like, what happened? Like, my guess was they got slaughtered and their powers got by the gods anyway, and got absorbed by the gods.
Yeah, Minya didn't know what happened to the kids that were taken away, but they got tested, and the ones that might have what was his name, Skethus or whatever? Skethus's powers were just disappeared, were taken away.
But all the children who had powers disappeared, not just his.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there would have been children in the nursery who had powers that could protect them. But they were literally just humans and babies. They had
and the only reason Minya was 6 years old is because she'd hid her powers. So she was, the only reason she was still in the nursery was because she'd hid her powers and nothing had shown up yet.
Yeah.
By the sounds of it. And all the others were just babies and their powers hadn't shown up yet until after the gods were killed. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of my theories was that he was the son of Azur. I don't know what her name was. Azure. But then that doesn't make any sense if she's if she's older than him.
Yeah.
And then that's my theory about what happened to all the other people that were spawned born or birthed or what was it, bred. What happened to them is that they were utilized as kind of power force. That's my guess. It'll be interesting to find out. But yeah, I thought I was going nuts because I was like going, this seems to be the piece that nobody's talking about. Like even the kids up in the Citadel aren't talking about this, which to me is like one of the biggest questions. Like Minya seems to be so full of hate for the humans, but what the hell did the gods actually do to these children? It might have been that it was just you were going to end up dead one way or the other. Like that's what I guessed. So so that was one of my theories, and then I had it. So I think those are all my three theories, and so some of them got answered and some of them didn't, which was like I wasn't sure if Errol Fane had actually gone and slaughtered the kids. I thought it might have been the gods, but it was him because he actually said he did it. So yeah.
Because of all the things that you could claim that you did that you didn't do, you're not going to claim that you killed a bunch of babies.
No.
You're not going to be like, I totes killed all those babies. That was totes me.
Yeah.
The thing that I picked about Laszlo being able to move the metal, the mesothelium or something it was called. As soon as he started talking about getting the black stuff on his fingers,
I'm like, you can do something with this metal.
And then as soon as he gave his spirit to
as soon as he gave his spirit away, I'm like,
I'm like, it's gonna work.
It took me a while to work out they were talking about a physical thing when they were talking about spirit, and then it was like, oh, now it makes sense why you have two hearts, because you have one for pumping the blood and one for pumping the spirit, whatever it is. And I kind of thought maybe it's a bit like, the lymph, like we have a lymph system.
I don't know what, it was definitely explained at the beginning about the two hearts and the spirit being, because it said spirit wasn't soul. I remember the saying that, And I just kind of went, I liked how they called it spirit because it made up the essence of you, but it was also like, I kept thinking of it like being like a spirit, like jinn or something like that.
See, I never twigged that, and for a long time, that it was actually that it wasn't just an idea of this thing that, you know what I mean? That it wasn't just an idea that they had about bodies, that it's like, no, it's actually a liquid that's inside your body.
Yeah, like when they were first talking about it, I thought it was just we talk about how we've got the spirit of God inside of us and blah, blah, blah. And I thought it was their sort of version of like a religious type thing, because I was like, what do you mean spirit? And then he was like, take some of my spirit. I'm like, there's going to be some weird magic thing that we haven't talked about and that's going to be weird. And I was just like, no, they're actually going to take like a needle and take some sort of liquid out of you. And I was like, okay, so it's a thing.
And then I was like, oh, it makes total sense why they have two hearts now.
Yeah.
But before I was just like, oh, yeah, that's interesting that people in this world have two hearts, Like,
you're like, why two hearts? Then you finally understand,
Oh, are you guys all still there?
We all just went dead quiet.
We all went quiet at the same time.
It was all very strange. I was like, oh, what happened? I'm just looking to see if anyone had any good questions in steel.
So I have a theory.
Yeah.
That I think that it's going to be like the story is obviously going to be about Minya trying to convince Laszlo to do what she wants, and Laszlo like wanting to do what she wants because he wants Sarai to stay around, but also not wanting to do what she wants. And my theory is that we're gonna go through a whole bunch of wank, and then he's going to be like Soraya's going to like tell him, because they kept talking about how the ghost was still like giving emotion with their eyes.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to find some way of talking so that she can like use her eyes, and he's going to like discuss with her about saying no to Minya, even if it means letting her go. That's my theory.
I think it's the whole lot of wank at the beginning that I'm not looking forward to. I think he was just saying like all that, oh, you know, she's ordering him to do things and he doesn't want to, but then he's forced to because he doesn't, you know, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to deal. Can we skip this part and just move on?
It's like, can we just skip this part and just move on from that, please? I don't want to.
Just do like a montage of what happened. And
I feel like it could get dragged out for a long time, and I'm a bit worried about that. Cause I'm like,
yes. I feel like definitely it may get dragged out just a wee bit, and it may make me a little bit annoyed.
What did you guys think of the other Godspawn? Other than, you know, obviously Minya was the one created for, you know, to be the antagonist. But what did you think of Ruby, Sparrow, and Feral?
I think they were a bunch of typical teenagers.
Yeah, that's a great answer. That's so true.
That's a great
I really
answer.
like the way that the romance between Ruby and Feral was treated. I felt like that was very
it felt very
authentic for interaction between two 17-year-olds. Like it wasn't like this beautiful, you know, magical virgin experience that we so often get in YA. It was literally them fumbling around together.
Yeah.
That was
Except then we got, by comparison, all the beauty of the prose around Laszlo and Sarai.
I felt like, though, at least Laszlo had, even if he hadn't been with a woman, he at least had read enough about it that he had an idea of how it was supposed to work. Like, he'd obviously read a lot of, like, romance and poetry and that sort of stuff, so he could at least make a flowery version of stuff, whereas with Feral and, what's her name?
Ruby.
Ruby, thank you. I was about to call her the fire one. What's her name? That just felt very like two teenagers that have never had the talk from anyone trying to work out how it works.
Well, they did say that, I mean, all they heard was what they heard, which apparently it sounded really detailed, what Sarai would tell them in the morning, because they just asked her so many questions. And I don't think Sarai really knew when she was telling everyone what the adults were actually doing.
Right. Yeah.
She was just explaining these weird things that these humans do, and it's really weird.
Yeah.
I'm just having a read of someone else's book club and read it to see what they've, if they've got any thoughts.
I suppose it's kind of like with Sarai explaining what she saw, and then it's kind of like trying to learn what sex is all about just from watching porn instead of, you know, like,
which is apparently what teenagers are doing.
Or having someone describe a porno they saw to you. Like,
I have a friend who's explaining this porn to me. Let me explain it to you so we can try and work it out together, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was anyone else totally expecting the two boys to hook up early on?
Me?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Totally.
Good.
Not just you, my sweet.
I was a bit disappointed.
I was definitely disappointed.
So was I.
Yeah. But what I'm hoping for is, I'm hoping that, like, who knows, but I'd like Thyron Nero to go through a bit of a journey himself, and that's the one of the characters I felt we didn't spend as much time with analysing away. Like, we started to get a little bit of that at the end, but it would have been nice to see a bit more of that. Like,
it was at the beginning and it was at the end, but it just was nowhere in the middle.
He was way too two-dimensional at the beginning. And then, I mean, admittedly, he was, you know, only like, 15 or whatever. But at the end, I got this more three-dimensional person who's, you know, like when he was talking about how he had to do the scientific experiment, how he washed everything himself, like even if he had an assistant, he wouldn't, you know, he get talking about rigor, and I was like, I really admired that. Like I was like, hey, that's a good thing, you know. He's really, and he was talking about his love of science and the rules, and there was that started, you know, that maybe that's my thing. It started to endear me a little bit to him, and then that he was so surprised when Laszlo said, oh my God, you did it, that's awesome. And he's like, oh wow. And it's obviously rocked his world a little bit, you know, he's having it rocked. And I'd like to see him go through a bit more, as it were, like a bit more of a what's the phrase I'm looking for, but a bit more of a transformation. Yeah, like just, I mean, he's never going to be wholesome and amazing, but I think he could grow more as a person and his understanding of people, and you know, and what makes people tick, and science. And anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting. I thought the whole, is it Blav, the guy blows things up.
Glaive light, yeah.
No, the guy blows everything up.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it?
I love that idea. The glaive light though was cool.
Oh, there was a comment in the back of the book about his name. She was like, Drave,
that's him.
She says, because I actually read the acknowledgements, which I don't always do, and she said, an even bigger thanks to Moon Rascal Drave, whose name I put to a less noble use. Even on my final proof class, I was wondering if I should change my explosionist's name because I felt terrible using Drave for such a creepy character. Please know the real Drave is a cool guy and a great friend to SFF. So
cool. Nice.
So
not an insane explosionist who killed himself and had really dark thoughts.
Yeah. That was leading me into something else. Oh yeah, and the glaive lights, they were cool. I really like those because you know how there's, you know, that you know, you got the start things that you expose to light and they soak up the light and then emit. So, I know. I just thought it was really. I thought what a cool. That to me was a really cool premise. I love that idea of you mined for these rocks that emitted glows and depending on how.
I really enjoyed that, and I really liked the what's it called, the where all the melted demon bones are, like that's the mountain.
Oh, the cusp.
The cusp. I'm like, is it the clave? No, that's not right. The cusp. Yes.
The cusp. Yeah,
so
that was cool too. Yeah.
Hearing them describe that in the audiobook made me go read it as well because it sounds so cool. Like just like obviously
like dinosaurs. Like if you had walked in and found dinosaurs. Oh, what was that?
Not just dinosaur bones, but like it was like melted dinosaur bones, like the
dragons and stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
Just sounded very cool.
Yeah, I agree. I love that bit too. And I love the bit where she was talking about her moths lift, like how with the glaive lights, they put like hoods over them.
Well, I think the thing is that the glaive lights are basically like glow-in-the-dark torches. Like they don't turn themselves off. They never
turn off, so you have to cut. But I love that idea. I love that idea of you put like, you know,
I love the idea
like
that the moths are a real thing that like interact with the world too. Like it's not just a smoke. Like because when they come out of her, she talks about them being almost like smoke before they become moths.
Yeah.
And no, like at the beginning, I didn't think that they were sort of tangible things. Like it didn't seem like anyone had ever noticed these moths around Weep. Like has no one ever been awake after dark?
Well, there's plenty of moths. I mean, maybe they just kind of merged in with all the others, you know, and you're like, well, there's that one. That's that species of moth. And then there's that species of moth. But I think when they're all together, like when Thyone turned up at Laszlo's place and the place was covered in moths and he probably just thought, you know, oh dear, get some mothballs.
Yeah.
Well,
we had like a shitload of hairy caterpillars turn up at our house. You know, like all over the place in our patio. And it's not like I ever went, I wonder if this could be some kind of weird supernatural thing. So you can imagine even if someone had noticed a bunch of moths, they'd be like, why are so many moths around at the moment? Like, I don't think they would have
Well,
thought
and
too much about it, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of someone who lives in Sydney, that every year in, I think it's November, we get invaded by bogon moths.
Are they the little white ones?
No, they're the big fat brown ones. And I used to work up in Fox Studios, which is where the SCG is, and the lights would be on, and we would just be like, there'd just be clouds of them. So they do, you know, swarm and migrate and do all that. So yeah, I mean, I think what probably was interesting is that she described them as being really beautiful, like really gorgeous to look at. So I suppose that would be maybe a little unusual.
This one?
Yeah.
It's got some interesting little patterns on this one if you look at the cover closely, like all little stars and so really nice. I'm holding it upside down.
Do you think
really
those
nice
are
cover design?
Are those the 4 anchors in the, you know, in the wing? Are those the 4? Because I didn't buy the book. I listened to the audiobook. I'm sorry,
I'll talk so that you can actually see it, because otherwise.
Oh no, they're not. They're just it could be anchors, but they're like triangles with lines through them facing different directions.
Could be like the right
triangles.
Claiming that as.
They're actually alchemical symbols. Those
ones.
Like the one, like if you Google alchemical symbols, one of them means earth, and one of them means water, and one of them means fire.
That is cool.
They do too.
Because I have seen those symbols before. I can't remember which one's which.
I've seen them too, but only playing games.
Yeah, that's how I know. That's when Kirsten just put them up. I'm like, oh yes, I do know those symbols. I have seen them before in games I've played.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Hey, look, games helping me know things.
Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't know what it meant, but I was just like, yeah, they look familiar. And that's why I was wondering, like, the anchors, because I thought maybe they were like northeast, southwest.
Yeah.
I've got to say, these gods were assholes.
Oh, yeah.
Bastards.
That's what I mean.
Man. And like when they said Isabel, I don't know how you felt, Kirsten, but when they said Isabel, you know, did her duty, had the baby, didn't even want to know if it was male or female, I was like, oh!
Yeah.
You know, like it was so different from Azarine, who, you know, didn't want to know because she knew if she knew she wouldn't be able to give the baby up. Like, it would break, you know, because it would break her heart in more ways again.
Yeah.
It was just so heartless. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah. And that's what I mean about, like, even though, like, there was this whole 2 parts of me where I was like, oh, imagining them slaughtering all these babies. But then the other part of me was like, I get why they felt that way. Like, after all this stuff happened to these people.
But the thing is, like, it's really shown the children that have grown up not with the gods have grown up, like, reasonable, like, other than Ninya, who was old enough to, like, sort of have cognition and memory of the sort of time. Although, really, if she was 6, her memory is not really going to be her memory. Like, it's like 6-year-olds don't really remember anything in that much clarity.
No, it's a warped memory.
She's had trauma, massive trauma.
Oh, yeah.
And not just that, like, her, like, she seems to think that everything she remembers is exactly the way it happened.
Yeah.
And trauma or not, it will not be exactly the way it happened. Even if that's what the ghosts are telling her, because the ghosts are really just telling her what she wants to hear, because she's the one controlling. Like, and I feel like that's what's warped her even further, because she keeps sort of actualizing her own hate, because they keep sort of saying, yes, that's exactly what happened, Minya. You were very right. Good work, Minya.
Yeah. What do you think that, speaking of Minya, what do you think the heart was for, or is for? You know, where she hid everybody and then she hid all her ghosts?
I think that it's some sort of, like, I assume that it's something that Laszlo will be able to use. Like, I feel like because it's made of the metal, like, it will have something inside of it that like, some sort of power source that he will be able to siphon from or use in some way. I think, maybe.
Probably, have something to do with how they got there in the first place.
Or it might just be how the magnets work. Because
Maybe.
like it may be if it's the heart, like the thing in the center, it may be how it sort of anchors itself to the anchors and how it keeps balanced. Because I mean, we saw that the moment that one of the anchors was broken, the whole thing started to lean. Like, obviously being balanced by those 4 anchors.
So the Philosopher's Stone is a real thing.
Well,
no, I mean like beyond the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was the alchemists. That was always one of the things that they were trying to create was a Philosopher's Stone and be able to transmute metals and stuff.
Yeah, and that's what they were talking.
Never were able to do it, but that was their goal. So it's definitely an idea that's why it so freaking pisses me off that the American version is Sorcerer's Stone, because it's not just about changing one word. It's like the Philosopher's Stone is a real thing. It's not a real thing that actually exists, but you know what I mean. It's a real concept that has been around for hundreds of years. So they didn't just change the name of the book. Just a philosopher, a sorcerer, whatever. They're like it's like a.
That really annoyed me. I'm like, but it's a Philosopher's Stone. That's the thing. Well, how can they change it to the Sorcerer's Stone? It just completely loses all sense if they do that.
It doesn't have any meaning.
So cool. Sorry, this is just really, really cool. And it's amazing how many of them I know. And it's so cool about iron and copper and how those are the male and female symbols.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
You probably see a lot of them and go, oh, yeah, I know a lot of these symbols. Like, I've seen them before.
Or anatomy,
Mercury. Like, you often see the Mercury one, like, when we're talking about the planet Mercury, they use the same symbol.
Right. This one's lead. Lead's really familiar. Yeah, a lot of these that come from gaming where I have to do puzzles. Someone's used these. This is so cool. So cool. It's really interesting because, of course, in the book when they talked about the Philosopher's Stone, like the substance that was able to transmute was the spirit. That's what he managed to do it with, was using his own spirit. So that was that's interesting. But what would we call it now? Fusion, I guess. Nuclear fusion is how you do things.
Yeah. It's the only way to change one element into another element. Well, fission or fusion. Fission or fusion.
Yeah, I think uranium. Is uranium an element? Because I did watch a really interesting. Yeah, okay. Because I watched a really interesting. I think it was called the Dragon Stone or something like that. It was what's his name? Derek from Vitassium was doing it for the ABC. He did this thing for, well, maybe it was SBS. Anyway, it was one of them, and it was on uranium. And it actually, because as it leaks out radiation, it actually transmutes itself into something else. Like
slowly.
It's so. I was like, wow, that's so cool. And like it also phosphoresces, it glows, in the dark. And phosphoresces and but like that stuff. So anyway, it was very interesting.
Yeah, so a lot of the elements at the top end of the higher end of the periodic table do that because they're very unstable because they have so many like protons and electrons.
Yeah, so they're always
So they're not stable very well, and that's why a lot of the new, like the ones they've only just newly discovered, don't even really exist in nature. They're so unstable. They only exist for a couple of minutes or whatever. And
because then they go, oh, got to get rid of that lone proton there because that's not supposed to be there.
Wow, we got seriously sciencey there for a second.
Sorry. This is a very sciencey theme. I like the I tell you what I did really like was the flying machines and how they used the gas from that was cool. I love that. And that was so kind of almost steampunk and how they described it. I just loved it. And they're putting on goggles and they were cool. They sound like
I did like the goggles.
Yeah, they reminded me of that. Has everyone else read The Hunger Games?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
no, I haven't.
Well, there's a couple in. I think it's in the second one. Yeah, it's in the second one. Beatty and I've forgotten the woman's name, but they are really clever and know how to lay traps and stuff like that. And they kind of reminded me of them couple, so it's kind of cool. Again, I wanted to know them a bit more, find out a bit more about their story, but I know it's not their story, it was Laszlo's story. Oh, bless you. Who else was there from the Ferengi? We had Glaive, we had Nero, we had the two flying ghosts. Oh, we didn't hear much about Calixte towards the end. I liked her though, and her ongoing battle with what's his name? The guy who built the tower. Yeah. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, they're kind of, I want to know a little bit more about them. They seem really cool. There's some really cool stories in there. What was one I was going to ask?
I want to know more about Errol Payne and his wife and what's going on with their relationship, and he's obviously traumatized from all the stuff that happened to him, but I'm kind of like, she still loves him, and I kind of felt really sorry for them as a couple, and I wanted to see something happen there, but some kind of resolution. But
well, there kind of was a resolution towards the end, like he finally cried, which was nice. So I think obviously whatever the curse was, that part is broken a little bit. Yeah, I think Calixte might come into her own in the second one a bit.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I really want her to
I want her to scale it so that she can, win whatever the bet was.
win her tower.
Was it win a tower? Yeah, even if it's just a little one, a tower.
Doesn't need to be a big one, just a little one. Uh-oh. I think we lost sound.
You froze for a second.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
It's not you hearing us, it's us hearing you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I have a playful kitten in my lap.
Oh.
Damn. He ran away. Join the circus.
Nothing's very playful here. It's all sleeping.
Yeah. Well, when I say playful, he's moving his front paws and its head, but that's about it. The back end has to come close enough that he can try and get it.
Hey, Kim, I'm going to be in your city in August.
Awesome. Am I still here? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to be there for my birthday, so I'll let you know what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there a gin distillery in Adelaide? Did you guys go to it?
Applewood. Yeah, Applewood.
Go there.
There's
that's what I want to do.
There is quite a few gin places. There may be one in I think there's supposed to be one in the city as well.
Oh, cool. Okay. Because I was pretty sure, and I was like, because Kyla was like, what do you want to do? And I was like thinking wine, but I've kind of gone off wine. And even though I haven't been to the Adelaide Hills, that could be really fun. But then I was like, I'm sure the crew went to a gin place.
Yes, we did.
I couldn't go. So
I'm drinking in the limoncello from them.
Don't get the limoncello. Is that what you said?
I said I'm drinking the limoncello.
Oh,
alcoholic water tastes like lemonade.
Because I was talking as well, and I said, don't make the mistake we made, and make sure you book, because we just turned up, and they were like, sorry.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to, because my friend's going to organise it, and I'll just say, do you have to work Saturdays, Kim, or are you free on Saturdays?
No, we have to work Saturday, so yeah.
Okay, cool. So book in August the 18th for probably June. My
Lovely.
actual birthday. It's very exciting.
Oh, you have to twist a thumb for this.
I know,
Yeah.
I know,
Twist
like
my
my
arm.
arm is looking very bendy.
Yeah, I love how much you had to convince her to go drink gin with Sarah.
I know. Kim and I, we get the gin thing. Oh, I'm so happy though. They're selling Fever Tree tonic now at Woolies. So
Oh yes, yeah. They sell Fever. Did they sell Fever Tree at Foodland? I think they sell Fever Tree at Foodland now.
yeah. So they do the Mediterranean one and the light one too, which is
Light one.
the light one's nice as well. So half the sugar or whatever,
Yes.
or fraction of the sugar. Anyway, sorry, enough about the gin.
Yeah, is there anything else you guys want to talk about with the book? Because otherwise I'll stop the hangout.
I think it'll be interesting to see what Laszlo finds now that he can open up the Citadel properly.
Yes.
He can break down. He can like move the doors and stuff again because that's his power. I think it'll be interesting to
I
find.
presume that's what Minya's going to ask him to do, is open up everything.
Yeah, see, that was the thing that stressed me out, was because I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be able to do all the stuff with the thing, and then it was like, oh crap, Minya's going to tell him what she wants him to do, and he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Just think as soon as I'm like, oh, he can like, even with just the Azoth, not knowing that he could necessarily control the doors yet, I'm like, oh, they could just cut the doors open with the Azoth.
Right, yeah. And maybe they'll just fashion some steps and they can walk up there. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the flying machines did work. And they had said something at one point about there used to be a pulley system, but it came detached. So they must have had, originally they had
assume
something
because
there.
the kids may have unmatched it.
Yeah, that's what I figured happened.
I
Yeah.
figured
I
the
assume
kids
that's what
unlatched it.
happened.
Either the kids or one of the gods did. Well, no, there was only Minya. There was only Minya and them.
Minya and the
Maybe would have done
ghosts.
She would have done
And
it.
the ghosts, yeah.
Or the ghosts, yeah.
But one of the gods may have done it in the, ensuing kerfuffle that happened in the fight. They may have, because the humans had to get up there.
But they all got taken down in the
in the
pulley, because he
again,
said at the end there was a very slow pulley to bring us all down, small groups at a time.
Yeah. And but obviously
Could have been Minya,
she managed to trap some of the ghosts of previous carers or something, that's like who was looking after them, because they were talking about Great Ellen and Lesser Ellen had been named by one of the gods. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm just not sure I can do it. Because I was just like, oh God, like it did feel, I think that was my thing, and I was running at 1.25. It felt like it dragged a little bit from time to time. So I'm not sure. Might have to see. I have to go back and re-listen to Bob 1 and post the questions.
Oh, I just finished Bob 1.
I haven't started it.
Oh, Karina.
Yeah, I'm not sure Karina will like Bob 1 at all.
That's why I haven't started it.
Your breast smells, Tombo. Of course it smells. Yeah, he's a cat.
Yeah.
Of course his breast smells.
Yeah.
Your little paws are just out of view. They're so dirty because he keeps getting to go outside and it's just muddy outside. Paws are no longer pristine snow white. They're just a dirty off-white.
I've got to go get the cat litter. Thanks for reminding me. Because that's why I bought him a box with a flap and cat litter, because I got tired of all the muddy footprints. And also the howling of, I need to poo, I need to pee, but it's wet. Solve this problem for me somehow. Like, I need to go outside, but I don't want to because it's horrible. So I was like, there you go, it's solved. And I have to admit, he's no longer doing this like run around the house at 6 a.m. and then like walking all over the top of me like I can solve his bladder issues. Honestly, he's gotten incontinent as an old man. I'll let because we were letting him out. He'd go out, then he obviously the cold hit him, and then he was like all the urine would train back into his body, and then he'd come inside, and then he'd go, oh no, I do need to go, and it would be in and out. Oh God. Or he'd go and do, you know, like obviously he'd go have a pee, and then he'd come back in, and then 5 minutes later, oh, I need to go do the rest of it, you know. Sorry.
Cats.
Honestly, cats.
You say that, but that sounds like a bloody dog.
He has turned into a dog. He really has. He's become. Well, now he's got cat litter. It's a lot better because now he goes and uses it, and then doesn't annoy it, and then just comes back in at 6 a.m. and curls up and goes to sleep. Anyway, we're still recording on that. That's
yes. Are we done with the books?
No,
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
All
And
right.
on that fantastic story,
Good note to end on.
Join us
Good night,
next time.
join
Join
us
us
next
next time
time
for what?
for,
Is it Bob next?
No, Wizard of
Wizard of
Earthsea.
Earthsea next.
Ah, okay. Yep.
All
Wizard
right.
of Earthsea by Ursula Elizabeth.
Oh.
There you go. That's my announcy voice.
All right. Bye, everybody who's watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we